And welcome. We are back here with another week of the William Penn Coaches Show out here at Elmhurst Grill. Before we get started tonight, we just want to say thank you to Elmhurst for allowing us to continue our show out here and showing us great gracious. But getting into it tonight, joining us first here is the Associate Athletic Director for William Penn, Grant Ferris.
Thanks for having me.
For those of you who don't know Grant, maybe don't know him fully, can you kind of just give us a little background on how you got to William Penn, your story before?
Yeah, so I grew up in California, lived there the majority of my life, got a scholarship to play baseball in Oklahoma, spent about 5 years there, 2 playing, and then started working in the athletic department there after I was done playing. And then met my fiance during that period, and she's a William Penn grad, and one thing led to another. Spent some time in advancement here. That's kind of my first move to Iowa, and then about 2 months ago, moved over to the athletic department. So,
yeah, and as you mentioned, about 2 months ago, you moved over. So, with this new job that you are in charge of, how are things going, and has it been what you've expected?
Yeah, it's been really good. There's a lot going on. Came over during crossover season, so all of our winter sports were finishing and our spring sports were starting. So kind of a busy time to make a transition in athletics, but it's been good. It's been good.
Off of that, what are some kind of the things that you are looking forward to as you kind of get deeper into the job?
Yeah, I think I'm just trying to create as many relationships with our coaches. We're lucky we have a lot of great coaches on staff, and being able to build those relationships and try to put our best foot forward for our student athletes is important to me. That's kind of why I got into athletics, is to make that experience for them as good as it can be. They don't always like what we have to say, but we do our best to put our best foot forward and give them something that they can enjoy.
Yeah, and then one of the things that is coming up for you, probably a big project for yourself, is the golf scramble coming up. Can you kind of tell us just what information we need to know about the golf scramble? And I know that it used to be kind of on the start of the new season or new school year, as some would say, in July, but now it's moved to May. So can you kind of give us just some background information on that?
Yeah, so the golf scramble's on May 31st. It's actually here at Oskaloosa Public Golf. We would love to have you guys. It's anybody in the community can play and participate in that. We'll have a lot of coaches. We'll have some student athletes out there on the course as well. And you can go on our university website to register a team or sponsor a sign. If you have a business here in town and you want to sponsor one of our athletic teams, we have those opportunities available as well. So, yeah.
And where is that scramble being held at?
It's right here at Oskaloosa Public Golf.
All righty. So you heard it here. If you are free this summer in May and you want to get out and golf some, look into the William Penn Golf Scramble, and we'll be right back here with our next coach. All right, we are back here with our second guest of the night, head coach for the men's and women's golf team, Elise Warren.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, thank you for coming out here. So first, we're going to kind of talk about the women's team. You guys just got done playing at your Hart Conference tournament. How did you feel about the team performance, and what can you tell us about it?
Yeah, so we came into it, obviously, we actually, for the first time in a long time, we weren't the favorites. So Mount Mercy was a clear favorite. They'd been better all year, but, you know, we had a lot of confidence going in, knowing that we knew the course really well. We've been able to play out there a lot, and, you know, we had a lot of depth and a lot of experience on our lineup. So golf's one of those funny sports where it doesn't really matter what happened throughout the season. You can just have your day at the tournament, and anything can happen. So, you know, we actually played reasonably well. We had a couple of our lineup that maybe performed a little bit worse than what we expected, but you know, we had some really great results as well from Emma Lawson, who I'm sure we're going to talk about as well. But yeah, it was close, and it's honestly it's a good thing, because you know we have some really good competition within the conference, and it forced them to play better. They were really, really determined leading up to it, and unfortunately we fell a little bit short, 14 strokes short of our goal of winning. But you know, they really did put up a good fight, and they performed immensely better than last year as well, where we actually won, which is the funny thing. Sometimes you play better, but then you don't win. So, it definitely hurts to lose. The girls really wanted to do it, and I felt for them when it didn't happen, but ultimately they actually played really, really well.
And before we get to Emma, who's been playing great, I want to kind of talk about you had the substitute in Riley Burns, and she came in for Olivia. What was kind of the decision behind that on the second day?
Yeah, so it was actually my first time using a sub, and it's a really difficult thing to do. You know, you've got to, as a leader, you've got to make the right decision for the whole team, and it's not fun news to give to somebody. But after that first day, evaluating things, Liv had been the drop score both rounds, and sometimes in golf you kind of lose your way, and it's really hard to get back mentally. So at that point, seeing as she was both the drop scores, I wanted to throw Riley in there. She's one of the hardest workers. She had her best career round at that golf course. She had a lot of good tournaments coming up to that to this week, and so it's a roll of the dice. Sometimes, I look like I made the really good choice because it paid off, but it could have gone the other way. But yeah, I'm really proud of Riley. She did really, really well. She was thrown a curveball last minute and performed. So we're really, really happy for her. And yeah, it's an unfortunate thing to do, especially when it was Liv's last tournament. We didn't know that at the time. We were hoping to win, but it's kind of the tough thing about sports sometimes.
Yeah, and along the lines talked about Emma earlier, so now we're going to get into that. I mean, strong performances during the maybe beginning of this season. Wasn't maybe one of the stronger golfers, but now towards the end, what have you seen out of her through that progression? She took home second in that tournament, so what have you just seen out of Emma?
Yeah, she's an interesting case. I feel like I've been talking about her all week to both, people outside of the team and people on the women's and the men's team. And she's just such a great example of what you would call an quote-unquote overnight success, right? She's been working her tail off for 3 years, and it all clicked at the right time. And she's always had that in her, and it's been just so nice to see her confidence on the course, and I'm really not surprised at how well she played. And she was 3 strokes away from a national tournament. Like it was really exciting, and she put herself into the all-conference team, and she shot 2 under par on the last 9 holes at the home tournament. She played excellent at the tournament before. Every single tournament she's been breaking her own records. So she did it again with a 74 in her last round, and yeah, she's just a stud. She's been working really, really hard, and it's just credit to her for sticking it out for 3 years. A lot of people don't realize how much time it takes to get to that level. They think it just happens overnight.
Yeah, and a strong finish to the season for her. But as we have kind of gotten to the finish of this season, where do you see this team heading into the offseason, and what is ahead for your staff?
Yeah, so we lose Carly and Olivia Kramer. Carly has been just really solid for us all year, so that'll be a loss. And then we're losing Olivia Kramer. She's kind of been the same position as Emma, where she's kind of just really found her form this year, and she's been in and out of the lineup. Same thing. Those two have kind of been battling for the same spot. So it'll be a loss to lose those two. But then we're also bringing in a couple of players that'll be really helpful for the lineup next year. But I'm doing exit meetings with all the players, and a lot of it's going to be, hey, let the loss hurt a little bit and use it as motivation for next year. And I'm going to do my best to bring in the right people and do things a little bit differently next year. I always say you win or you learn, and sometimes when you win a lot, it can cloud your judgment of things that you can get better at. So I certainly have taken a lot out of it, and I really want to change a few things and how we approach practices, how we structure the season with tournaments and things like that, and ultimately just get better. So, yeah.
And so now we're going to switch over to the men's side. They will be competing on Monday and Tuesday at the Hart Championship at the same place. What are you expecting from your guys' team? I'm
really excited, actually. I'm super excited. All these guys are are really pumped, ready to go. We got 3 fifth years in the lineup. We've got out of the 6 guys. So we really want to send them out on a high. We actually went out for a practice round yesterday, and they played unbelievably. So it was no wind out there, which is unusual for that golf course. So if there's no wind, we've got a really good chance. But the wind will make it really difficult, as it always does out there. You know, the team to beat is obviously Mid-American Nazarene. They're ranked in the top 25 in the NAI coaches polls, and they're red hot. So, you know, they're the team to beat. And but ultimately, if we're not able to do that, you know, my goal with the men's program since taking over has been to just improve every single year. So it was funny, last year we actually had a much better score, but then we dropped 1 place in the final standings, even though we actually played better. So like I said, golf's a little weird sometimes, where you can actually play better and actually the result ends up being slightly worse. But yeah, that's my goal for them, is to really send the seniors off on a high note, you know, maybe break a school record. They're really ready to go and they're firing, so I'm excited.
And you talked about the seniors you have mixed in with a lot of young golfers on the team, as you said last time you were out here. How is the team chemistry between those older golfers helping out the younger ones and just kind of developing through the season?
Yeah, even though we brought in a really large freshman class, there's only 1 freshman on the varsity roster, which is an impressive thing. We got Andon Herrera from Texas, and he's been really great from day one. And it's very unusual for a freshman to be able to step into a varsity lineup from day one. So he's been massively impressive and has earned his spot all year. And then we have 2 juniors and 3 fifth-year seniors. So we're actually quite an old team at this point. So, you know, and it's been really nice. I think that the older guys have really appreciated having all of the younger guys around and having some guys to mentor and to you know, take under their wing a little bit. So the team chemistry has been really fun. They've been really, really great with each other. They're always out playing golf and doing things together. So it's been really great. It's been really great.
And lastly here, Coach, what is it going to take for your team to be successful at the Hart Championships?
We got to shoot under par. We got to shoot under par as a team. We got to go really, really deep. So there's going to be a very high bar. This course is very scoreable as long as the wind doesn't mess with us too much. I think the winning, I can't remember the winning team score last year, but the winning individual score was 15 under. So, you know, I wouldn't be surprised if it was another double-digit win as an individual and potentially even as a team. So, you know, our guys have got to go low. They've got to be in red numbers, you know, all 3 rounds. So, you know, sub 300 at the minimum each round. So it's not undoable. They can definitely do it, and you got to have a little bit of luck on your side at the same time. But I love this team. I really want them to just go out there and do the absolute best that they can.
Well, good luck to you and your team, and I guess we'll see how it turns out on Monday and Tuesday. As for us here, we're going to be right back here with our next guest. We are back here with our 3rd and final guest of the night, the head coach for the men's volleyball team, Luke Bentley. Luke, thank you for joining us.
Yep, thanks for having me.
So first off here, just congrats to you and your team on making it back to nationals 2 times in the last 3 years. How excited is your team to go up to Cedar Rapids and compete next week?
Yeah, obviously really excited for a chance to go back. We were there 2 years ago, and last year didn't get to go, and so I think those guys that were there 2 years ago are excited to kind of redeem ourselves a little bit, and the guys that have never been are obviously excited to go for the first time. So yeah, definitely a lot of excitement, and more than anything, we're just excited to keep playing volleyball and extend our season.
Yeah, and in your guys' pool, the competition is you guys have Reinhardt and OUAZ. You guys played OUAZ actually the first game of the year this year, I believe. What kind of do you know about these teams?
Yeah, obviously more OUAZ than Reinhardt. Reinhardt won their conference, the Appalachian Conference, and OUAZ is at large, same with us. And like you said, we played them in the beginning of the year. So they're the 4 seed, we're the 5 seed, and Reinhardt's the 12 seed. So we expect good things. I mean, they're in the national tournament. So Reinhardt is definitely the most unknown out of the group, just because they're down in Georgia and they don't get to play a lot of teams up here. And like I said, OUAZ we saw in the beginning of the year, and they play in the GSAC, the best conference probably in the country next to ours. So they've seen a lot of good competition, and I expect a similar match when we see them. But yeah, Reinhardt's probably more of the unknown, but we've done some scouting, and we expect a good match with them as well. So yeah, we'll kind of see what happens next week.
And as you said, you guys are the 5th seed. Going in as the 5th seed, do you still feel like this team has more to prove? As maybe a comeback off that loss in the Hart Championship, kind of just a little bit more fire in the guys.
Yeah, it's hard because we have a lot of guys that are graduating this year. We have a handful of 5th-year seniors who started the program 5 years ago with us, and then a lot of 4-year guys that have been around for all 4 years. So it's a pretty heavy class in terms of age, and this is their last chance to do this. So I think they're hungry. They want to go out with a bang, and we talk about all the time leaving a legacy, and I think their legacy has been pretty good so far, but to put kind of an exclamation point on it would be pretty awesome.
Yeah, and have you seen maybe for some of the younger players on the team, as you said, a lot of still players on the team from when you went to Nationals the first time, have they given any advice or kind of helped out at all, knowing they have that experience of actually playing at a national tournament before?
We've talked a little bit, but obviously there's going to be some jitters, and it's a new experience, but the biggest thing is we have to treat it like we have all year, which is, and we've been fortunate because we play good teams every week, so it's the same thing this week, going into next week, just kind of preparing the same way and expecting good competition, and hopefully, we perform well. But yeah, not much has to change. It's just going to be a different gym and a little bit different environment, but overall it's the same, so hopefully they kind of keep that same mentality.
And kind of just switching up here, I know as a coach you like to wear suits, and had some opinions on Twitter before about what coaches like to wear on the sideline. So what is your take on whether you wear a suit, zip up, polos, or etc. on that?
Yeah, good question. How can I answer this? So we dress nicer at home, and we dress a little more casual on the road. The on-the-road part is just for convenience. It's hard to bring a suit on the road all the time. But we will definitely be in suits next week at Nationals. I think there's just a level of representation for the program that you want to uphold, and that's probably the biggest thing, is looking the part. And, yeah, I'll leave it at that. That's probably the best way to put it.
So your current plan is to be wearing suits when you play at Nationals?
We will be dressed up, yes.
Okay. And so just lastly here, last question I have for you. What needs to happen for this team to be successful up at NAI Nationals?
Yeah, I would say the same thing that's gotten us here. 22-6 maybe. I mean, to get 20-plus wins in a year, you obviously have to do things well. And that starts with consistency. We have to be able to finish out sets, and a big part of that is serving. And if we serve well, I think that puts us in a good position. We've been a pretty above-average blocking team, and so I think serving and blocking probably are the keys. And the hard part is, you're at this point and everyone's good. So it's not like we're going to get anyone's worst. We're going to get everyone's best, and everyone wants to win. And the way the system's set up is you pretty much have to win both your games in pool play. So we have to play our best volleyball 2 games in a row, and hopefully that happens.
All right, well, Coach, thank you for joining us out here at Elmhurst Grill. Really appreciate it, and good luck this following week up at Nationals.
Thanks.
As for us here, that is going to do it, and thank you for tuning in and joining us.